Hi friends, my name is Bhavya Mangla. I'm IATF qualified auditor doing audit for the automotive sector for the last 19 years. I'm again with a very interesting topic, and today I'm going to talk about MBO, Management by Objective. And by the time this video will end, you will understand what exactly is this jargon MBO, why it is important, what are the different ways in which we can implement MBO, what are the challenges that industry is facing, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of MBO. Well, you must have heard about this particular book of Jim Collins, Good to Great. There's a very interesting example about a bus. So, when the writer is talking about that bus, the intent is that there are two ways. One is to get the best people in the bus and then ask them to take it wherever they want. And the second is first to decide where we want to go, when we want to go, how we want to go. Then, based on that, identify the right people, then put them on bus, and then ask them to take it. In the first case, when we just have the good people in a bus, there is a very high possibility that we will not reach anywhere because we don't know exactly where we need to go. But in the second case, where we are very clear we want to do, when we want to do, how we want to do, and then we identify the people who are identifying their skills, their competence, their thought process as per that set goal, there is a high possibility that bus will certainly reach to their target. Something similar happens with respect to management by objectives. In 1954, Peter Drucker, as per his book, The Practice of Management, through this book, he tried to highlight this particular concept of management by objective. So, what Peter Drucker is trying to say is that it can be defined as a management system that measures the employee's performance against a series of set targets or goals to gauge their overall performance in their roles. And these objectives are often tied primarily with respect to the overall business department, whatever the organization is happening. Say, for example, it's very easy to understand that maybe the organization want to double their production or the sales, you can say. Now, just merely by thinking about it, it's not possible. So it's very important that production person has to see that whatever capacity they are having, whether they can actually deliver that much of quantity or not, or they need to enhance their production or the capacity. Similarly, the HR person has to see that whatever manpower they are having, is it sufficient, or they need to add more manpower, or maybe they have to enhance the capacity of the people. Something similar is quality, that in the quality process people have to see that whether they have got that kind of infrastructure to monitor and to see that whatever products are that are being produced, they are fulfilling to the requirement of the customer or not. And maintenance people, that whether they have got that kind of infrastructure to make sure that that machine uptime is always there, and maybe they need more infrastructure to make sure that machines run to the full capacity, and there can be many more examples. So whatever target that we are setting, now to achieve that target, there are different people in different positions and levels. What are the targets for them? And when we align everything with that, then we can say that there is a high possibility we can achieve that. So that comes second question, that why MBO or management by objective is important. So when we talk about management by objective, it's very important to understand that what Peter Drucker is trying to say, that it's a collective approach. People are working together to achieve a certain goal. And when they're achieving a certain goal, it's also important that there is a certain timeline which is being defined to achieve that. So whenever you say that we want to increase our sales by 2 times, now we have to define a time frame, maybe in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, because unless and until we define a time frame, we will not be able to achieve that in any time. Someone has very rightly said in this particular case that a goal without a deadline is just a dream. So primarily when we're talking about management by objective, it's a top-down approach, that something is decided in the top, and then there are different people in different layers who are working together to achieve that. That brings another important question, then how to achieve or how to implement MBO or management by objective. So as I said earlier, that it's primarily a collaborative approach. Everyone works together and then the goal can be achieved. Someone has very rightly said that it takes a village to raise a child. Something similar happens with respect to this particular activity, wherein the requirement of each and every person is equally important, and only that the overall target can be met. So there are 5 key steps which are there. If they are being effectively and systematically followed, our nation can certainly achieve whatever they want to do it. So the first step is talking with respect to defining the organizational objectives. So here primarily the intent is that what the top management want to achieve in the coming 3 to 5 years, and it's very important that that particular target should be tangible and it should be very clearly defined. Say for example, as we said the example, let's assume that we want to double our sales in the next 5 years. So that brings point number 2. Now we have to now translate those objectives into the measurable goals. So here the intent is that whatever we want to achieve now, by using the top down approach, now we need to see that people at different levels, at different positions, maybe in different functions, there has to be goals which needs to be set so that the overall target should be achieved. And generally it's a very popular acronym which is popular SMART goal should be there. It should be simple, measurable, achievable, realistic and time bound. So for example, with respect to the same goal of achieving the sales double target in coming 5 years, we need to set the sales target for the sales team. We need to identify that how many new machines that we need so that we can enhance our manufacturing capability. We need to identify how we need to improve our quality so that we can achieve that. What needs to be done with respect to the manpower, enhancing their morale, and so many different things. That brings point number 3. Here we have to monitor the performance. So it's also very important that when we have a goal and then we set the different objectives at different levels, then we need to closely monitor that whether we are on the right path or there is some problem. Maybe there is a competency gap, there can be a resource gap, maybe an understanding issue, communication issue, there can be some work environment issue, maybe a cyber security issue, there can be n number of different things which are a hindrance to achieve our overall objective. So while monitoring, we need to see that what can be done so that we can work flawlessly to achieve our target, whatever we have set. That brings point number 4. Now we have to evaluate our progress. When we talk about evaluation, so it is done periodically. It can be monthly or quarterly or 6 monthly. The objective is that whatever targets that have been set, whether we are reaching there or there is a gap, in case there is a gap, what needs to be done with respect to that. So that is the point number 4. And then brings the last and the final step. We are talking about feedback and reward accomplishment. So here somebody has very rightly said that feedback is the breakfast of the champion. So primarily the intent is to see that what right we have done, what wrong we have done. We have to give the feedback to all the individuals at different levels. And then in case the performance is good, then we need to give different bonuses, incentives, and something different. And generally, whenever some feedback is given or when some action is being taken, it can be intrinsic or it can be extrinsic. When we talk about intrinsic, it can be more of team building activity, giving self-confidence to the people and self-motivation to the people. And when we talk about extrinsic award, it's primarily more about maybe giving bonus or salary increase or promotion and doing all those things so that overall objective can be made. Now it's very important to understand that when we are talking about these 5 key points that we need to do that, what are the indicators or what are the key factors that we need to take care so that we can effectively implement that. So for that, again, there are 5 key points that needs to be taken care, and if they are being taken care, certainly our nation can achieve whatever they are seeking for. The first and the foremost is with respect to the top management's conviction that whether they are really convinced that yes, they can double their sale in the coming 5 years or not. That's very important. Then second point is commitment to the entire organization. It should not happen that top management or some key people think that yes, it's important to achieve our target like doubling the sale, but people down the level don't really align themselves. So the commitment of entire organization is important. Then it's important to set the clear objectives, which should be realistic and achievable. It should not happen that the clarity is not there at different levels. That can create a problem. And the fourth one is we need to be transparent and we need to train the people. We need to bridge that gap, the competencies, so that overall objective can be made. And certainly most important thing is that we need to be flexible because things change. We live in a dynamic world. Sometimes there is a war, sometimes there is a pandemic, sometimes there is a cyber security issue, sometimes there is a financial crisis. So it's important to adapt to the changes and then see that what can be done. And then certainly when an organization systematically implements management by objective principles, there are many advantages that organization can get. Some of them includes that teamwork increases, the people have more clarity, the empowerment of people is there, the efficiency of the processes become very high, and people know how to customize their skills based on the different requirements. But at times it is also being seen that MBO has got some disadvantages, or people feel that it is not always a goody-goody thing. There are certain areas which are a problem of concern. So some of the areas includes that it's a very high pressure thing, that people are always working on achieving some target and they are not actually enjoying it. And the second thing is that it's making things more impersonal. Everybody is just focused on achieving something without realizing over the teamwork and other things. And the focus is more just on achieving the goals and not on overall accomplishment what the organization is thinking. Some of the key challenges which industry faces with respect to MBO. The first and the foremost is that how many organizations have actually aligned the top management goals with the goals at different levels, even though they may say that yes, we have implemented MBO management by objective. The second key challenge is that yes, assume that the organization is very effectively interlinking the top management goals with different people and the different processes and the targets are there. How often there is an evaluation, there is a monitoring to see that whether it is working or not, whether it is really effective and giving the desired result or not, or it is just a process which has been created but nobody is monitoring that. So if I do a summary, primarily I talked about what exactly is management by objective, why it is important for an organization, what are the 5 key steps which needs to be implemented, which is similar to PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act, what actions that needs to be taken to make sure that MBO is effectively implemented, and what are the different advantages and disadvantages. Well, my next video will again be quite similar to this, and where I'm going to talk about OKR, objectives and key results. Regularly, I'm getting a lot of feedback from your side and they are helping you to understand your expectations. Please do continue that. And in case you want to understand a little bit more about this particular video, you'll find a link below. And once you click that, you find a blog there. There you find this particular information in much more detail. And in case you are liking these kind of videos and blogs, you can always share with your friends and colleagues, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website, bhavyamangla.com. Thank you.